What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's Coleon the producer, back with another reaction video. Listen, I know you see the screen. I know you see what's going on. I listened, I watched, but I can't obviously play that here. But listen, I'm getting ready to give some commentary here. Listen. Yay, man. You know, the artist formerly known as Kanye. You know what I'm saying? But I guess, you know, he'll still accept that from time to time. But we talking about Ye, we talking about Yeezy, we talking about Yeezus, we talking about as many, you know, Louis Vuitton, Don, whatever you want to call them. Listen, before I get into any commentary, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to keep that content on the way. But I want to really get into this because this is going to probably be something that's kind of like breaking the internet. I am going to come and be as honest and humble in my opinion, you know, because this is just my opinion. You know, everybody's entitled to it. You know, I don't want to take from anybody, you know, and I will give, you know what I'm saying, but I don't want to take from anybody. I want everybody to be able to maintain their ideology and their opinion on everything, but I'd also like to share mine, you know, if you don't mind. I'm a real, like, yo, I've been following Kanye, you know what I'm saying, since, you know, like he said in his pink polo, you know, backpack, you know what I'm saying, like, when he revolutionized rock, well, it wasn't Rock Nation then, I guess it was Rockefeller, you know, Rockefeller Records, you know what I'm saying, like, so that there could be a Rock Nation. You know, when Kanye came around, you know, it was Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleak, you know what I'm saying, it was not what it is today, you know what I'm saying, and I don't think it could be what it is today without Kanye really transforming and revolutionizing the business, Jay-Z's approach to music, Jay-Z's approach to culture and doing everything, and everyone else around. So, like, I've been watching Kanye, you know, even before all of the, you know, genius, you know, stuff came out, on you know, on the streaming channels and stuff like that. Like, we lived through those moments without knowing that they were being recorded type stuff, you know what I mean? Like, so when somebody is really expressing themselves, especially to this caliber of a person, because a lot of people will be like, you know, I don't, you know, I think this and I think that, but they don't really understand what it means to be a high caliber person. You know, a person that has been not only successful in one industry, but every industry after the next industry. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to understand, what does that even mean and what does that look like to definitely even try to grasp what that feels like. And this is what I wish a lot of people would even take the time to try to understand, is that he don't feel like you feel, because you've never, you know, people might have been successful in one thing, but how many people have been successful in the next business, and the next business, and the next business, and the next business, and none of these businesses really had anything to do with the other one. You know, you were just able to go in and revolutionize business after business, you know, approach after approach, vision after vision, and you were able to put people in position to continue this, you know, even if they try to do it behind your back, which is really messed up, you know. But I say all of that just to say, like, you know, I've really been following Ye, you know, this whole time, you know, before everything was politicized and political. You know, 2008, you know what I'm saying? I believe that was the year, you know, let me know if I'm wrong, but when he went toe-to-toe with 50 Cent, you know, for album of the year, and obviously 50 Cent took that L because he knew what he had, and he knew what he was doing, and he knew what he was saying, and he knew the impact that it would have on people. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that didn't really have that. That's what I'm like. You had Beanie Siegel, Myth Bleak, you know what I mean? You had what street or whatever, you know, approach, state property type, you know what I mean? Like, that's not something you want to actually be proud of. State property, you know what I mean? You don't want to be state property. You know, it was a great movie. I enjoyed it. But, like, the idea of what they were pushing, what they represented was small. You know, it really wasn't freeing or uplifting or breaking any boundaries, because we had already seen it all before. You know what I'm saying? Tupac had done all of that before. And you see, so it's like when somebody came back with that same heart, that same energy, and transform and revolutionize the way we saw ourselves and what we listened to and how we felt when we were listening to music. That is very monumental and very important. And I think a lot of people don't consider that before they give their opinion, right? You know what I'm saying? They just want to go off exactly like they're literally following what he said in this interview. Like they just listening to what somebody else tell them, and then they go regurgitate it without formulating their own thought or own opinion, and also not even coming to their own conclusion or having their own hypothesis on things. They're really just word regurgitators, phrase regurgitators, sentence regurgitators. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not really thinking for themselves. They're not critically thinking. So like, I don't personally agree with that, but like I said, each is entitled to their own, you know what I'm saying? But you got to understand what comes with that. And this is a person that clearly understands that. Like he understands the danger of speaking your mind in today's time and speaking against certain forces and shadow hands that obviously have control over things, because you see what they do. I don't think. And listen, I haven't even really gotten it. I'm just giving you, my perspective on things, and I think it's very well-rounded. But I don't think we've really seen somebody get put on the cross and crucified the way that we are watching this happen. But see, the thing that people will say, like, no, he brought this all on himself and all of that. But think about anybody who really wants to show you something, how can they really express it unless they go the extra mile for you to really see what's happening? That's what I wish people could understand or grasp, but not everyone's able to critically think and be like, well, how is he gonna prove what he's saying to be true? He has to take action to show you what happens when he speaks his mind. So whether or not he's saying, he's a Nazi or whatever, but that is just to show you what happens when a person speaks their mind. Because remember, the First Amendment, right? The First Amendment, right? Everybody, the First Amendment, right? But is that really the reality that's happening when a person starts saying certain things? But this is what more is intriguing, is that when it speaks to or references certain groups, it's like 100 times more backlash, but when they talk about their own, like when Kanye talk about his own community, there's no backlash. Oh, no one's, but when he talks about other communities or certain communities, oh, he loses contracts, he loses this, record labels can't play you. All of these seemingly independent industries start thinking exactly the same and operating exactly the same as though they were being controlled by the same hands. And that's just something that I'm observing. See, you have to have the ability, and I said that weird, but observing something. You can't just be like, I'm just going to say what someone else is saying. Can you observe the situation taking place? Can you observe what's happening here and see the consequences of a person speaking about certain topics? That's what I'm like. He is literally putting himself on the cross, and you can make all the jokes, you know what I mean? Be like, Jesus, you know what I'm saying? All of that. But listen, he's literally putting himself on the cross so that you can see what it looks like to be persecuted by certain groups of individuals for saying certain things. They're okay with you talking about certain things, but they not okay. So is it really a First Amendment for all and every conversation and everything? Doesn't seem to be that way, as he is illustrating through the actions in which you could literally see in front of you. However, people, like I said, may not have the foresight or the ability to really critically think and be like, whoa, so he's saying this. Now this is the repercussions, right? But so they get so aroused off the fact that he getting pulled off or something, they don't even realize what's really happening. They don't even realize whether or not they're a pawn being used to further another agenda or a mission or an ideology or an idea. They so aroused at the thought of seeing someone fall off a cliff You know, like that they don't even consider that they're already falling off a cliff and ain't nobody helping them. They're just putting themselves deeper and deeper and deeper. So I say all that to just say, man, if you haven't, man, go check out the interview. Tell me what you think. Of course, like I said, I know Ye when Ye being Ye. And in this interview, like he said, you know, tell me what hurts you, because I'm going to do that more. Because understanding that when we're talking about building character, building a morality, building something, you have to there is a level of desensitizing that you need. You need to be able to get past what somebody is saying, bro. If somebody can break you and crack you from saying something, bro, you ain't that solid. Your foundation ain't that strong. You already had cracks, obviously. If somebody could say something that rattles you, how solitary are you truly within your spirit or yourself? You ain't there. So what he is illustrating is let him be the vessel that help you better and become more aware of what you need to overcome. Listen, man, I could do this all day. I could do this all day, but listen, we're going to leave it to Ye. Let him talk. If you haven't, make sure you watch this interview. I thought I'd give my little two-piece, give what I had to say about it. Listen, it's Coleon the producer. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to keep our content on the way. And like I said, I understand if you don't agree with what I'm saying and you feel real hurt. But understand at the end of the day, if there is some pain, that means that there's something you still need to overcome. So again, would you want somebody to hide that to prevent you from overcoming and being your greatest self? Or would you want somebody to bring that out of you? To each his own, man. We out of here. Coleon the producer. Let's go.